going on, guys? Come with me for this week's adventure. We're back here in Kooser State Park, so this is part 2. You're not going to want to miss this episode. State Park number 12. Alrighty, well, we officially made it to the end of the Kooser Trail. It was a lot of fun. It took me quite a while. I took my good old time. Saw probably 9 different salamanders on this trail. No snakes though. I was really hoping I'd find at least one garter or ribbon snake, but no luck with that. Probably saw 4 different species of salamander. 2 of the different ones ended up getting away. I didn't get a shot of them, but they're definitely different. So the next stop, we're gonna head on down to Kooser Lake and check out the dam, as well as some CCC structures along the way before wrapping the day up and heading back to the campground. So let's go check out Kooser Lake. All right, here we are, standing on the Hoosier Dam right now, and there's your first glimpse of the 4-acre Kooser Lake. Like I said, one of my favorite spots to come up and fish. Here is the dam over to my left, and the original dam was constructed sometime in the 30s, and from what I read, they had to basically rip down the old dam and reconstruct it. I don't know if it was faulty or what. Here's where the water obviously spills over, and yeah, beautiful Kooser Lake for you. All right, so kind of running out of information and history on Kooser here. It's a really nice largemouth bass right there. I don't know if you can see it, but if you're wondering where Kooser gets its name from, John Kooser actually lived in this area, conveniently just a couple feet away from my camping site. There's a spring, Kooser Spring, that feeds Kooser Run, which eventually feeds Kooser Lake here. But yeah, so John Kooser would have lived here back in probably the 1800s, I'm guessing. There's a couple more nice largemouth bass there. And I already kind of touched on it, but there was an Indian battle somewhere along Laurel, or not Laurel Run, Kooser Run. So right where we're standing right now, possibly there could have been an Indian battle. So all kinds of interesting history. The Whiskey Rebellion came through this area. I'm not too familiar with that whole part of history, but check out Kooser Lake. Pretty beautiful. All kinds of fish. We've already seen a ton of different wildflower and salamanders today. Already seen probably 3 or 4 different types of fish. We got a bunch of sunfish swimming around, as well as some largemouth bass. So gonna set up and do some time lapses and head on back to camp here in a little bit. But I am gonna walk around this entire lake, so get some different shots for you guys. Missed it. Found my first snake of the day. I believe it's a water snake. I don't know if you could see it. Oh, there he is. All right, cool. Got our first snake of the day. Hopefully you guys saw that. This probably has to be one of the most crazy wildlife days I've ever had on the trail. Like I said, seen a ton of salamanders, deer, all kinds of different species of fish. Just saw my first snake, and as I'm standing here, I see another one. I believe it is a northern water snake, and he's looking at me right now. I'm looking at him. He's got his head poked up at me. But there he is, basking in the sunlight down there. So I don't know, maybe this is the mate of the one I've just seen. Yeah, look at that guy. Could be wrong. He's definitely not venomous. He's not a copperhead. Don't see any rowels on him. So yeah, pretty cool. Well, just whenever I thought I saw pretty much everything I could see today, wildlife wise, I walked over here and saw probably the most impressive display of tadpoles I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, when I say there's probably a million tadpole here, that probably wouldn't be an understatement. Look at all these guys. You get over here and the water is actually black from tadpoles. Look at all these. There's so many of them. So yeah, add that to the list. Yeah, I love springtime. Alright guys, one last look at Kooser Lake here before I head on back up to camp. We still got some other stuff to see. There is an old CCC pavilion right over there somewhere that we're going to be checking out, as well as the half-mile tree army trail. So we'll check that out, and that'll be pretty much the end of the video. There's another little piece of history from back in the Civilian Conservation Corps days. We already saw the dam and some of the trails that the CCC boys made back in the 30s. And this is just another example of one of the many things they've done around this area, as well as the country. But check out this fireplace. Absolutely massive. That is a unit of a fireplace. Yeah, look at this. Absolutely beautiful. You don't really get to see architecture like this anymore. So the CCC boys would have been paid about $1,000 a month, but there was one stipulation: they had to send home 25% of it to the parents during the Great Depression. Obviously money was pretty tight back then, but FDR really ended up saving this country by enacting the New Deal, as they called it. And sadly, if you think about it, we still might have a Civilian Conservation Corps today if it wasn't for World War II. So something to ponder. But yeah, another look at this mighty oak pavilion here. Really cool. Well, if anybody's curious about the cabin slash cottage situation here in Kooser, I'm going to take you through a little cabin area, quick walkthrough. I believe all these were built back in the CCC days as well. I'm not sure if they have running water and a bathroom or not. You guys will have to look into that. Well, I see sewage, so I'm guessing they do. They're actually pretty secluded as well. Doesn't really look like you have to worry about people being close to you. Seen a lot of cabins like up in Clear Creek where they're virtually on top of each other. Nice little fire pit area too. Wow. Well, there were no signs for it except for a blue diamond. Yeah, there goes a couple more, but I think this is probably, look at that tree, pretty interesting. I think this is the tree army trail, I think it was called. Only a half mile, and from what I read, it's to connect the cabins to the campground. So we'll be back to the campground in just a minute and officially calling it quits on Kooser. You can really see how close the roadway is to this campground here, though. That seems to be the #1 complaint of this camp. All right, guys, well, the dump station where we started our day off is right on the left of me right now, and that means we only have about 10 minutes left on the Tree Army Trail. So I did want to say thanks for stopping out. I don't know if this is part 1 or part 2 at this point, but it was a fun day. Saw a lot of wildlife: salamanders, snakes, deer, bass, you name it. We've seen everything. So if you enjoyed this kind of video, if you're new here, make sure you give me that subscribe. That means the world to me. Like the video, that also helps out a lot. Leave me a comment, tell me your favorite state park or just something nice. And check out my Instagram and Facebook if you can as well. So this is signing out from State Park number 12, Kooser State Park. So I'll see you next week from State Park number 13. All right, guys, see you next week.